Hello, dear friends. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I'm in the process of trying to publish my new book, so I need an interview, and I ask you, dear friends, to come and help me. And hopefully, it will be nice, and we will do a good job.
Good.
My name is Ilan Sendowski. I was born in Israel. I became an electric engineer. Then I worked in a defense contract and later became a lawyer and became a patent attorney. And out of this, I went to visit some class, Bible class, and I enjoy listening. And we came to the Scroll of Esther. We came to the Scroll of Esther, and I fell in love, and I saw that I can see hidden things that I thought maybe I can contribute to the subject. There are many books about the Scroll of Esther, but I think I have new ideas. Okay, so what question do you have that you said?
Esther is fascinating, and I can see where you got so involved with it. How did you get involved?
The thing is, as I said, I went to a class with a rabbi, and we sat there, and he was telling us that Haman ordered everybody to kneel to him at the palace gate, and he said, "So orders the king to me." And immediately I said, "Hearsay, your honor." And they said, what are you talking? I said, he said, "So orders the king to me." That's the definition of a hearsay. It's out of court. Somebody is saying something, and now you are saying that he told you. How do we know it's true? It's suspect. And
So that was your legal background then?
Yes. So, and then I looked at it and I said, the teacher asked me, "Do you have any proof? Can you show us?" Okay, it's suspect, but can you prove? And I thought for a minute, and then in the next few sentences it says, "And Mordecai did not kneel." And what did Haman do? Nothing. He didn't go anywhere. He didn't go to the king. He didn't send his guards. So he is a second in command, second to the king. He should be furious and should take care of Mordecai on the spot. And he didn't do it. Why didn't he do it? Because he couldn't. He couldn't go to the king and explain the crime of Mordecai that the king did not order him. He demanded honor as if he is a second to the king, as if he is a king outside of the palace. And the king would have been angry if that's what he demanded, honor of a king. So he couldn't go. And then Mordecai knew, if you cannot go, see, it means that it's not true. At the end of the book, there is also a section that Haman is telling the king, let a minister take and honor Mordecai. And the king said, tell him, you do it. This means again that in the eyes of the king, Haman was just a minister, not a second in command, not a king outside of the palace. So all of this put me into looking using my legal background, and especially the patent attorney, that is the importance of every word. I start looking and I said, all of this story is full of lies. It's basically a testimony of a liar witness, affidavit of a liar witness, that everything is reversed. Everything you hear, it's reversed. It's opposite what they are saying, or different combination. So out of this, I decide that I will start looking into it and read each sentence, and cross-reference to other sentences. I took the Megillah, the story, I printed it, and I marked every sentence that I used. And then I use reference, as I demonstrated a minute ago, and I start marking every time I use it a second time as a reference. And then I start filling up, and I saw that all the sentence I'm using more than once. And then I start using a third time and a fourth time. And the whole book became colorful with all the marker. And I said, every time I read a sentence, I can find a hidden or reference something that is being used in other ways. So I decided that I will write a book, and that's a book that I wrote. Mordecai did not kneel because the king didn't order it. And I saw it as a chess game. So that's where I started to investigate and write my own commentary book. Now, one of the commentary, the second of this one, it's in Hebrew, and that one exists in 24 libraries in the United States, in universities. I think 24. It's not thousands, but it is a number.
Very nice. Yes, it is. Why do you think God's name is not in the scroll?
That's a big problem. And from the beginning, the elder who collect the Bible and canonize it, they were arguing whether to put it in or not. Is it a story of God? Is it related to the Bible? And lucky for us, they decide yes to put it. Now, the name on purpose is not included. At the same time, they wrote that story, they add the Scroll of Esther. Without adding it to the Bible, they wrote the Haggadah of Passover Haggadah. And there, Moses does not appear. So, taking it together, here Moses does not appear, God is doing everything. And here, God is not appearing, and Mordecai and Esther are doing everything. So I put those two stories together, and I said, there must be a connection between the two. In Egypt, God did everything. He brought them to Egypt. He made them slaves. It was expected that Pharaoh will make them slaves. He got the 10 plagues. He got them out, brought them to Mount Sinai. Made a holiday, a new holiday, Passover, to celebrate every year with a tradition of food, special food. And I took that story and I said, this story is very parallel to the story of Purim, of the Scroll of Esther. Again, there was trouble. The Haman tried to kill all the Jews. The Jews fought for their survival. They won the war. They were united. And then they create a new holiday and they celebrate it every year and they read it with a specific customs. And those two stories are parallel. In one story, only God did everything, meaning you can wait until God will come and help you. On the other story, it says, no, don't think like this. God destroys the temple. God put you in the diaspora. He has a goal in his plan. He has a plan to save the Jew and make them prosperous and successful. But it doesn't mean that he will not let you suffer. You have to unite. You have to fight together. You have to work it out. And that's the message of the Scroll of Esther, that it's our responsibility to defend ourselves. We should not sit there and pray and the God will come and save us. We have to fight for it. So that's one of the theme that push me to see how to educate my grandchildren and other children, your children, every children, that look at the book in these eyes. Open to see his tricks of Mordecai tricks and method. How did he succeed in all of that? So, what's the next question?
Well, I wanted to ask you why Mordecai refused to kneel, and he almost caused a massacre.
Mordecai, to some degree, he decided to follow God's steps in Egypt. As I said, it's a parallel story. So what happened in Egypt? We see two important persons. One is Joseph. Joseph brought his brother to Egypt, and he was second to the king. He got the king's ring and the king's chariot, and he was doing everything he wants that was good for the Egypt, to Pharaoh, to save from the starvation. And he brought his family to Egypt. That was the beginning of the exile, and they prospered for many years, and then they became new Pharaoh came and he enslaved them. Similar thing happened later, that a boy was his mother was afraid he will be killed, as Pharaoh ordered all the boys must be killed, and she sent him on the Nile River. He was the daughter of Pharaoh found him and adopted him, and now we have a prince in the palace. We have the Moses grew as a prince. He was a kind of half brother to the Pharaoh. Later, when he came, it was Pharaoh, his half brother, that he was arguing with. They knew how to talk with one another. So Mordecai was doing similar things. First step he did was to install Esther as a wife of the king Ahasuerus, the king of Persia. He was a king of kings because he controlled all the king in the empire. So once he got that one, and in addition, in my story, there is a friend, childhood friend, that became bodyguard of King Ahasuerus, and his name is Harvona. So together he had like a rook in the palace. He had the queen and he had a rook. And together he was able to do things and hear things. As I said, when Mordecai heard that their king did not order it. Now, of course, maybe the king ordered it in a different room and Harvona didn't hear it. But the bodyguard he's connected to the king everywhere he goes. He was not told that, he knew that it's not true. So he decided to test Haman. But in reality, he wanted to incite Haman, to trigger him to attack the Jews. He wanted the Jews to suffer. He intended purposefully. He said, I am not kneeling because I'm a Jew. Just in your face. And what are you going to do about it? And Haman had no choice. He cannot attack Mordecai in the palace itself. So he has to go around and try to kill all the Jews. So part of it was to trigger Haman to kill all the Jews. And that will cause the Jews to unite and fight and save themselves. So that's why he didn't kneel. And saying, if God would not have bring slavery to Egypt, to the Jew, to his Hebrew in Egypt, then when he would have told them, okay, let's go to Canaan, they might not have get out. And he had to say, okay, you want to stay, I'll give you some slavery, a few years, and now you will come out. And you will go, and I'll close the sea behind you, and you will come to the Mount Sinai and get the commandment, and then you will continue to the promised land.
So then, in your explanation, did Haman confuse the king, and therefore the king did not give the killing decree?
Yes.
Stop making a noise.
I have a long, in the book, that's a new book that I'm going to do, that's a cover, and it's very sweet, called Intrigue, and I took my granddaughter, I took a picture of my granddaughter when she was younger, and used her as a picture of Esther, and set her in the book. So this is the book that is going to come. So what did you ask exactly?
I asked you, how did Mordecai know the king did not order the killing of the Jews?
Yes. First of all, he didn't hear it. He heard something, but the words that were said were very confusing. Haman asked to oppress. I'm translating le'abed in Hebrew to the word oppress. And the word oppress is very wide. It can be, you can kill, you can deport it, you can destroy, you can enslave. It's a very wide word that you don't know the meaning of it. Later, Haman wrote a declaration, and he explained the word oppress by saying to kill, destroy, and oppress. And then comes the question, what is left to oppress after you kill and destroy? There is nothing left.
Right.
Everybody is killed, everything is destroyed. And what do you oppress? So why did he leave the word? Because that's what the word that the king approved. So he explained, kill, destroy, kill, and oppress, which mean that that's not what the king meant. Because if the word oppress was clear, he wouldn't have to explain it. If you explain it, it means that the word oppress that the king approved is a different one. So we can see later that he sent two things to Esther to inform her. Look what's going on. He told her what Haman said to oppress, and he sent her a command, the written command, where it said kill and destroy and oppress. So Esther had the two items in front of her. Now one can say, I don't need two. One is good. I'll take this one, go to the king, or I take this one and go to the king. Why two? So obviously she said they are conflicting. So she looked at the word oppress and came to conclusion that it cannot be to scatter, to lose, because the Jewish already were scattering the empire. It cannot be to kill and destroy, because otherwise he wouldn't explain it. So what's left? To enslave. And then when Esther accusing the king and Haman for usurpation of the king's power, she said, you ordered to kill and destroy us. But if you would have said that only to enslave us, then we wouldn't cry. Which means she's giving him the two different meaning of oppression. So Mordecai knew it because he had the rook as a bodyguard, and he saw that Haman is making tricks, and he understood that Haman wants to kill him. So out of it, he recognized that this command was not true, and the king did not approve it. The king did not hate Jew. the king honor Mordecai with honor to ride on his horse and all of that. So he decided that this is not true. But he wanted that decree because he wanted to create trouble to the Jews. And you can see that he became, after Haman was hanged, the next day he became second to the king, got the ring, and he is the second to the king. He waited 70 days. He didn't announce immediately, I am the second, I am a Jew. The old Haman decree is being cancelled. He didn't do it. He waited 70 days. Why? In Egypt, after Moses ran away to the desert, he came back at age 80. So it's, let's say, 70 years, because the trouble started before Moses was born, 70 years. For Mordecai waited a day for each year. He allows the people, the enemies of the Jews, to start attacking, to start stealing, start killing, and force the Jew to unite and prepare for the war.
Well, okay. Tell me about the gallows tree. Why was it so high? And how was it constructed in one night?
Yes. So, first of all, it's not a gallows. It's a hanging tree. Gallows, you build a platform and a hole and a door and a rope and this and that. So here I have a picture an illustration what Haman did. He just went to his yard, picked a big pine tree, chopped the branches, and left just few branches on top. He picked a big 50-feet tree and chopped, and he put the rope in the top. Now, this one you can do in one day. The roots hold the tree is standing up, and it's very easy. Now, I put on top a bird, if you can see it.
I do,
There is a big eagle.
Yeah.
And crows. And they were waiting for Mordecai to be hauled all the way to the top. In my opinion, Haman, in his cruelty and his wife's cruelty, they planned to hang Mordecai alive, not dead. Alive, not hanging in the neck, but hanging on his chest or something, so the birds will eat him alive. Now, if the tree wouldn't be that high, the birds will not come. But because the tree is very high up there, the birds will come and they will torture him for several days until he will die.
Wow.
So that's the plan that Haman was, and his wife, such a good heart wife, tried to torture and to show to anybody else that what will be done to you if you're causing us trouble. But
So
apparently,
how did they get up to the top of the tree? They roped the body up there, or
they would. I think they just put the rope over a branch and would just pull it up.
So that explains why the tree was so high. Esther, how come she was considered the most beautiful?
Yes. This, I don't want to tell the whole thing about the story, because you have to see how. But the thing started with a Queen Vashti, who was the granddaughter of the king Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, the prior empire. She, when King Ahasuerus married the princess Vashti, he united the two empires. And this created a union that he was very proud of it. When he made a party, he asked his wife to sit on his royal chair when he was having a party in the garden with many people. And she made a party for the women. And she sat on the royal chair that maybe was stolen from Babylon, which belonged to her grandfather. Then he asked his guards to bring her wearing her crown to show her beauty. And comes a question, how do you show a beauty? You don't show the clothes that the king gave you. You have to show your beauty and your hair, your face. And there are people who were joking that he was a drunk man, the king, and that he was a womanizer. Of course, he had many women available. So it's possible that she got insulted and she didn't want to listen to the guards who told her to come. Because the law says you cannot come to the king anywhere he is. And you cannot uninvited. And you cannot approach the royal chair uninvited, even if the king is not there. And she sat on the royal chair of the king in his palace, in the hall, royal hall, and the guards came uninvited. So legally, she could have said, I don't accept you. And then comes the question, who is stronger, the king or his chair? Can he order her to do something while she's sitting on the chair? Or the one who sits on the chair can refuse hearing the command? She didn't come. In the book, we explained. So,
that's fascinating.
When a minister suggested that she will be deposed and a better queen will be chosen. But Mordecai knew that there is no better queen. There is no more granddaughter of King Nebuchadnezzar. Where are you going to find another girl that unite the empire? She broke the empire. She said, no, I'm not under your command, Vashti. So Mordecai, in my opinion, arranged a beauty contest. All the girls thought that they will come and they will do for the king what Vashti refused. They will show their beauty with a crown, naked. Esther didn't come naked.
Naked?
She didn't come naked. She didn't give a show of her beauty. She came as something else. And I don't want to say what.
Oh, don't say it. We'll
So
read it in the book.
she came and she united the empire and she gave the most cherished honor to the king. Once she came to his hall and they brought her glory to him, he couldn't send her away anymore. He had to have her. She is the most something that bring him the most prestige available or exist in the world. So he accepted her, and that's how she plays. She plays a game.
That's fascinating, really fascinating interpretation. I think I've asked you all the questions I have here.
The last one, yeah. Ten, yeah.
Well, why did the king limit hanging Haman on the tree?
Yes.
That's my
This
last question.
this is a very interesting question. You see, people are saying that the king was drunk and stupid, fat, drunk, stupid, and it's not clear from the story until you come to that moment. The king, according to the law in Persia, even the king, Herodotus wrote it in his book, even a king cannot execute a person unless he commit 2 serious crimes. If he commit only 1 serious crime, he cannot execute him. So the king was exposed to several crimes. One, that Haman said that he wanted to kill the Jews. Another one, but the guards didn't see it. Only the king saw it, no witnesses. Then the king saw that Haman is touching the queen. But this is number one. There is only one. He needs more crimes. Then Harvona just start talking without asking permission. He just start talking, and he's saying that Haman built a tree to hang Mordecai, that is dear to the king, a 50-foot tall tree. But the king doesn't have a crime here. So he has to order Haman, okay, come and explain. There will be a hearing. Haman will come with his soldiers. The king will sit on his chair, and the soldier of Haman will attack the king, and that will be the end of the investigation. So the king had only one crime, and he said, hang him. But he can hang him with any tree. It doesn't need to on that tree. Why do you have to limit yourself? He said, no, you hang him on that tree only. Only on that tree. Why on that tree? Because he doesn't know if Haman wanted to kill Mordecai. He doesn't know if what Haman was thinking if he built a tree. He will send one of his guards to check if there is a tree. If the tree exists, then Haman tried to kill Mordecai. Now we have the second crime, and we have the first crime of touching the queen on her bed. Now they can kill him. This shows how deep was his thought of the king, that he knew to limit the execution only if the tree exists. And if it does not exist, bring him back. In my story, I'm saying that somebody was trying to chop the tree and destroy the evidence, but Haman insists to keep the tree. He still hoped he will hang Mordecai later. So that was the cause of his death. So, yeah.
That is amazing how complex the thinking was, isn't it, at that time?
Yeah, no, all of those laws, and at the same time, the Greek was doing all of those things.
Yeah.
The world was very civilized. Okay, you have more questions? No?
Well, it seemed to me that Haman had planned first to hang Mordecai and then knock off the king, or the other way around, one way or another. This was his plan. He did not want to remove the tree because he was going to put Mordecai on that tree.
Yes. The thing is that Haman was getting deeper and deeper in trouble, and the only solution that he had was to kill the king. And he thought maybe he will marry Esther, or he will have to kill her too. So that's he commit enough crime to justify punishment. Okay, so here we have my book, and I'm trying to sell it, and hopefully you will show it, buy the book to your grandchildren and read it with them and learn the wisdom of the Bible and enjoy the way that things roll and things develop. And Mordecai found from one idea rolled to a second idea to a third idea until he succeeded in his mission that he was requested at youth to do. And he saved the Jews, and the Jews are until today in many ways thanks to Mordecai's plan to survive and prosper all of those years. Thank you very much.
The thinking at that time.
Wait a minute.